Thank you, friends. We welcome a High Commissioner from Seychelles. We've had an opportunity to meet him at Raj Divas a few weeks ago. Honorable Member of the Parliament, faculty from the university, students and friends. I have two ideas to share, taking this conversation forward, rather than repeating anything which has been said before, is two things. One is that just as we have the non-resident Indian Pravasi Bharat coming together, and it's great success. I believe it started from the Atal Bihari Vajpayee time. I remember, unless earlier, I may be wrong, but I do recall that that's the time when it picked up as a momentum, even if the idea was earlier there. But it's become a major movement where Indians from all over the world look forward to this annual congregation of non-resident Indians, the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. I think it's happening again in January, which has brought Indians from across continents together. I think there's a case for another coming together. So I'm just taking, it's an idea for our Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Member of the Parliament, is to create a system called Persons of Indian Roots, called the Persons of Indian Roots, PIRs. I think we can have Persons of Indian Roots, because we have, if you see research, if you see records, if you see Wikipedia, Indians have spread all over, much before the French or the British took us across, particularly a lot of the Caribbean, as our Honorable Member Parliament, Mr. Radhakrishnan, said. And taking them to Caribbean was a lot linked with sugarcane fields. When the Africans start to get to be withdrawn or not available, Indians went to to these routes. I have come across many of such countries which have Indian domination routes during my time at the United Nations. So therefore, it's time, while we have the Indians rooted in Caribbean, we have a lot of them in Africa, and Seychelles is one such example. We have them. So why not have a case for Persons of Indian Roots as an annual event? Now, what should be that day? That roots would mean there may not be, obviously they're already French. Now, I'm talking of pre-World War II, because a lot of migration happened pre-World War and immediately on World War, and then came later the partition times, people migrated. So, but pre-World War II, the 15th century, the 16th century, the 14th century, when Indians were being spread out to the world, the Caribbeans and the Africans, Asians as well, I think it's a case for why not study it? Why not do a little paper? The university, that's my third idea, suggestion is that how about this same department, and you're the professor of that, how about doing a full study on this and go back to the first Indian, which first country he or she went? Where did they go? For what did they go? Let's trace the route. It's be interesting history for all of us to know which is that first country where the first Indian went. That could be the date and could be the name. I think we don't know this. Do we know it? Do we know it? It's an area for research. And these universities are meant exactly for this, to fill in the gaps in the Wikipedias. You know, Wikipedia doesn't give us. Wikipedia only tells you where all Indians went. But Wikipedia doesn't tell you where it went first. It only tells you very little information. So I think we owe it to this Indian School of Social Sciences as a study to find out who went where and for what. That could be the date, it could be the name. Now, I'm calling it the persons of Indian roots would be bringing people together from Caribbean, from Africa, from other countries, Asia, wherever they were. But I think the older settlers would be Africa, and that's why you have people in Zambia, you have people in Uganda. They were all there. And of course, thrown out also for certain political circumstances. But they are there. Therefore, Mauritius is full of Indians and speaking Hindi as well. So I think we need to go back. Even Guyana, the Caribbean islands, of course, I've mentioned. So I think it might be a considered idea. Which is the date? We need to decide. Let Pondicherry University contribute to this research, take this up as a research project, and narrow down the countries and offer, and our honorable member of the parliament could make this suggestion to the government of India to look at, where obviously Puducherry would be a gainer as well, because it will mean assembly of all nations, almost. That was well, and then we revive these roots. We nourish these roots. We look at their culture, let them come and perform their own music, the language. So maybe English may still be a unifying language, we don't know. But then we come back to the Indian culture, we reintroduce them to Indian culture, and I'm sure somewhere the features would be still Indian, because features will not go through the DNA, it will keep traveling. It will be worth the research. It'll be a great idea. So maybe this High Commissioner and the Seychelles event leads us to the next step. I think every event is for a reason. Take you to the next step. What is the next step? Next step is tracing, bringing Indians of Indian roots, right? So if we do that, I think it'll be maybe about, and all the more reason, because India is an old civilization. We are one of the older civilizations compared to Europe and the United States. While when they may not have been there, we were there, like the Egyptian population, the Romans. So I think we need to go back to our roots and reconnect through our roots and bring our children of the next generation and link them back with India for whatever. And this will never go, because Indian roots, if the faces show, the DNA travels for centuries together. So I thought while welcoming a High Commissioner and appreciating the kind of island Seychelles is, it's a favorite place for Hollywood destination. I do not know which movie did we last shoot in Seychelles. Seychelles has been a remarkable destination for many of our movie songs and Bollywood films, because it's one of the most beautiful places for Virgin Islands. It is, and interestingly, it has a matriarchal society where the man provides for the family rather than the woman. Am I right? Oh, safe country to go to. Very safe country. We should. So is the answer on crimes against women to make this society matriarchal? I don't know that. But it's a matriarchal society, and I was reading about its prison system. It's got higher number of women prisoners than men. So it's very strange. It's an interesting country of its own kind of culture. So my friends, I think every event leads us to the next stage, and maybe Puducherry could take this up as a project to research, and then come up with an answer and go back and let the government know. Thank you very much for this opportunity.